Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 3Y TV. We have the ASRS tryout race number 4 of 5, and it's going to be a fantastic one here. My name is Carlos Acosta, and joining me is Jim Foos. And Jim, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm great. I'm really excited to be here at Kansas. This is going to be an exciting tryout race. We got quite a few guys trying to get their tryouts completed and get approved for a Premier Series license so they can be part of the 2020 ASRS Hacksaw's PC's Premier Cup Series here in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast, but we're actually going to, I believe the drivers are already starting to grid up. Qualifying is, no, I apologize. Qualifying is actually underway at the moment. So let's go ahead and tune in, see what some of these drivers are going into the corners. Now, Jim, Las Vegas is a very fast track, but if there's something that these drivers need to watch out for, what do you think it is?
Well, first of all, they're not in, well, they are in danger of losing some money. There's a casino here, but I'm hoping that they click their heels together and realize that we're in Kansas right now.
That's going to be true. It's going to be a fun, challenging race, and this is realistically the last real chance any of these drivers have at obtaining the Premier Series license to participate in the fantastic Hacksaw PC's Premier Series. That being said, of course, next week is going to be Daytona, and you never know where that one's going to end up for you. And with Las Vegas being the last real shot, what are you, Jim, a league owner and somebody that's in one of the officiating process, what are you looking for a driver to qualify for a Premier Series license?
Well, the biggest thing on our list is not speed, although we want to see some speed out of drivers. We don't want to see somebody that's going around the track at 100 miles an hour when the rest of the field's going 180. But the biggest thing is being able to bring the car home cleanly at the end of the race. If you get run into, well, there's a caution going on, or you get touched in the side of the car and then touch the wall, and don't bring out a caution in doing so, that's okay. So an incident isn't an automatic disqualifier. But what is the disqualifying factors are things like aggressive driving, running into people, driving into the grass, losing control of your car on your own, riding along the wall and hitting the wall, wrecking other drivers. Like I said, causing cautions is a big one. So what we're really looking for here is first of all, just clean driving. And then the second part is the ability to follow the rules. We have a lengthy rule book because we've been at this a while, and we have a certain way that we like to do things that we think is the right way. It may or may not be, but we want to make sure that they're able to follow the rules and that they fully understand where our rule book is and what things mean and what they can and cannot do. So that's really what this is about. And like I said, there's a few drivers here tonight that really are going for those spots. So it's going to be fun to watch.
It's understandable. You guys have a large rule book. I've been reading through it, and you guys have pretty much pages and pages worth of rule books, and that's just for the Cup Series. Same thing for your other series as well. But for the people tuning in, this is a test broadcast. We are still going at this with the intent of it being like a regular full-featured broadcast, but we're going to be trying out a couple new stuff. That being said, Jim, for the people tuning in, where can they find more information about the ASRS?
Well, the ASRS website is americansimracing.com. You can find points, results, our sponsors, find a little bit about us there, as well as read that lengthy rule book, which I do recommend printing out and maybe putting on the tank of the old throne if that's where you do your reading, because it's quite the read.
It definitely is. Qualifying about to wrap up, less than 18 seconds. A couple new rule additions for the league is once a driver leaves the session by themselves with their own power, they are officially done for tonight. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, that was a rule last year that we put into place, and it was just to keep drivers that disconnect and get frustrated and then come back. So it's basically the same thing as taking your car to the garage in NASCAR. So that rule has we got about a year under our belt with that. The new thing this year is the 10-minute damage clock. So if you are on pit road and have a pit stop that is more than 10 minutes in length, you're automatically disqualified for it as soon as it crosses the 10-minute mark. The other side of that is that you can redeem yourself with a 9-minute and 59-second pit stop, although I don't know if I'd push it that far. Roll out on the track, get to minimum speed, and then come back down and complete finishing your damage as long as it's under 10 minutes. But a 10-minute pit stop is an automatic out. And that's to keep the guys that have blown motors and things like that are off of the track for 30 minutes or more just from coming back on the track 100 laps down and getting in the way. We had a few issues with it last year. I think we caught a few of those on 3-Wide TV where I was the recipient of the lapped car running into the side of me as I was on the lead lap. So
You've had some
but
bad
it was
luck.
a lot of us. Yeah, Daytona was a rough one last year. By the way, the throne that I mentioned earlier, that's 11% off at Menards this week, right?
Oh, no. Well, moving on. We got the qualifying results, and let's go ahead and get all that information being shown out there. As soon as I could... We've been off for a bit. I completely forgot where the information was here for the qualifying.
Well, I'll lead us, Carlos. So we got Greg Evans on the pole with a 31.218, and alongside of him, Mitch Brown, last year's Premier Series champion, with a 31.218, so tied on the front row. By the way, Greg Evans second on the all-times wins list here at ASRS to yours truly. Christopher in the 106 is going to be on the inside of row 2, and Tim Knott outside row 2. Jason Eisenhower is there in the 139 with Clarence Bonner alongside, Kelsey Rogers in the 34, and Eric Stanford in the 190. Jake Douglas in the 194 and Shane Parrish in the 81. And then we drop back to Kyle Zimmer, who starts 11th with Will Warsler alongside, Troy Hayden, Alex Giese, Travis McDaniel, Cody Spiker, Tyler Ashley, Richard Fletcher, Brandon Key and Ethan Adams round out your top 20. Nick Curling's going to roll off at 21st with Jared Haggerty in 22nd. James Lorello, who won the opener for the Truck Series in Atlanta 2 weeks ago, starts 23rd. Steve Puhala 24th. Jordan Berry 25th. John Gallagher will start 26th. And then Richard Stallings, Jay Crable, Bradley, Mark Myers, Michael Whiting, David Washington, Jason Stewart, Dean Gear, John Jenkins, Jordan Riddick, and Sam Crow round out the 37-car starting field here at the Kansas Speedway.
A huge field. I apologize for that. It's been a couple days since I've had to use that ticker. So test practice, good. It's a great idea, Jim, and I'm glad you suggested it. But moving on, we're about to go green in this 100-lap race here at Las Vegas. Pace car is off, and we'll see if the 51's going to do anything on the restart, on the start of the race. Starting on the outside, green flag is out, and the 51 is underway. All these drivers are going on into turn number 1, Jim. As the drivers...
Oh no! Mitch Brown had an issue at Vegas. I'm sorry, at Kentucky a couple weeks ago, where he wrecked turn 1, lap 1, and this almost a repeat of that. Luckily, they gathered it back up. But remember, Carlos, we're at Kansas right now, not Vegas.
Oh,
I
apologize. Oh no, we got a loose car. Oh, the 99. I'm not sure who that is.
Clarence Bonner in big trouble there for the 99.
Big trouble for the 99. Let's see if we can take a look and focus in on what happened. Tapped the outside wall and then made some contact with the 106. Both of these drivers going head first into the outside wall. And who was that yellow vehicle that made some contact there?
That would be the 12 of Steve Buhala, who definitely took a hard hit with his number 12 Ford Mustang.
Oh, just some more bad luck for Steve. Steve, as well as you, were both heavy recipients of just bad luck awards all of last season. And Steve, unfortunately, is getting caught up with it one more time. Take a look at it there. Heavy damage for a couple of these drivers. Some of them are essentially race enders, Jim. Now, a couple Eagle Eye viewers may have noticed that we do have some drivers that are pretty much using triple-digit numbers. And in the Premier Series, you will not find a triple-digit number, Jim. However, in this tryout race and the non-Premier Series races, you will find triple-digit number. Why is that?
So the triple-digit number is a couple things. First of all, part of the Premier Series license packages is that you have the ability to have a single-digit or a single or double-digit number. So number 1 through 9, or a 10 through 99 kind of number. Anything that's not a Premier Series license, or if you elect not to renew your Premier Series license and drop down to the Development Series, then you end up with a triple-digit number with usually a 1 in front of it. And then as we expand over to the short track stuff this spring with the All-American Challenge Series starting up, you're going to see some 200 numbers, and it helps us find the drivers that need the approvals, so we can easily seek them out in the results and seek them out on the track. And secondly, it just keeps a benefit for everybody who bought their Premier Series license for the season.
That's true. So pretty much the drivers, the officials will be watching out for, and pretty much the fans, all these new people with 3-digit numbers, they do not have a Premier Series license. These are the drivers that are attempting to get that license by performing well and honestly also having some good luck. But of course, that doesn't mean that drivers that are already in the Premier Series are unable to participate. Of course, we do see some 2-digit numbers. There is some restrictions, Jim. And Jim, those restrictions are limited to what?
Well, there's a couple things that limit drivers that have the double-digit numbers from going over to the Development Series, and so we've set it up for 3 Premier Series race wins over the course of the last within the course of the last 2 seasons. If they have more than 3 wins total, then they don't exactly get to run the Development Series. And there's a couple other restrictions. We have a couple guys that haven't raced with us, that have raced with us in the past, haven't been here for the last couple of years, and we just roll back to their last full seasons to determine their eligibility for that Development Series. The idea for the Development Series is to give those drivers that might not have the greatest chance of winning here at the Premier Series level the opportunity to race for wins and to race up front on Wednesday nights with the Truck Series and the Surf Pro Grand National Series. Looks like the pace car's off, and we're about to go back green with Mitch Brown now leading Greg Evans alongside in the 154, and we're green.
Yep, green flag is out as the drivers are getting back on the gas. Mitch Brown getting a very good lead already, 0.3 of a second before they even get to turn 1 off of Greg Evans. So one thing that has me concerned is the damage that Mitch Brown did get pretty much lap 1, turn 1. There's a crinkle on the left front quarter panel. It could be enough, but we'll see what type of skill that the 51 has. Same goes for the 154, who also has a damage, but on the left side instead of the right side. As that draft is definitely helping Greg Evans as he's getting ready to. Well, it looks like he's just staying behind the 51 of Mitch Brown, pushing both of these drivers up ahead as the 41, Tim Knott, and 190 of Eric Stanford behind. Just a whole group of cars. I would say a top 5 appear to be spreading out from the rest of the group. As we see there, the 154 Greg Evans going side by side with the 51 for the lead.
Yep, and Evans looks like he has it. Now, the thing to remember, these guys only have 3 sets of tires to run this race. They have the set of tires that they started the race on and 2 additional sets in the pits to use as they choose. But if they take 2 tires, that counts as utilizing the set. So they get 2 pit stops with tire changes here tonight. And 2 tires, it pretty much doesn't make sense in this kind of deal. But this track is known for eating tires, and the way that these guys are racing up front, the tire wear is going to come into play here, and not too long in the future.
Oh yeah, well the 154 is almost essentially kind of killing his tires, trying to battle the 51 of Mitch Brown. As pretty much in a majority of racetracks, that outside line, while it is a little bit slower, it's fantastic for defending. As we have a blinking car, I'm not sure who that is. The outside line is fantastic for defending and holding your position and getting the run on the outside. But that inside line, if you're able to execute a pass correctly without spending too much time on the inside, that can be a very effective move. However, if you don't, you'll be killing your tires very early on. And while I have done a race with you guys with a tire wear, it's my first time doing a tire wear restricted race, it worked out perfectly for me. But in that position, it was a little bit of perfect timing for me and getting good spots while I was passing a couple drivers with 10 to go. It's going to be a very challenging race, and I do enjoy this tire limit rule you guys have on the league. It's gonna add definite excitement to pretty much almost every caution that comes out, Jim.
Yeah, it adds a lot of strategy into these races, and the thing that you're seeing with Mitch Brown able to pull away, the front car punches a big hole in the air. But the problem is that the second car gets so aerotight behind the first car, and it gets such a draft up to it. And when it gets to about 0.3 of a second behind the car, about 2 car lengths or so, it's like it just hits a brick wall and can't go anywhere. And that's what we saw with Greg Evans, why he's dropped back a little bit. He got to that bubble, and once he got to that bubble, it shot him right back and sent Mitch Brown out there a good ways. Also, about the outside lane, you keep your momentum up. Your speeds are a little bit higher. Time-wise, it might not be faster.
Behind.
The stopwatch. We got trouble there.
139.
No. And the 28, and I think they kept it going.
They did. What a fantastic job. I believe the 139 tagged the outside wall. I believe entering the corner, made contact with Will Worsler, and then made contact with, I believe that's the 28. I couldn't get an image right there. Let's see if we can go back just a little bit more. 28. They look behind the wheel. Now, this is something you were talking about, what you guys are looking for. Of course, there's a couple incident points there with the 139, but he did a fantastic job of A, not wrecking the car, and B, not pretty much wrecking anybody else, although there was contact being made.
Yep, and bonus points when we look at things if they gather it up. If they get loose, slide, touch fenders or something with somebody, but are able to gather it up, we kind of look at that a little differently than them ending up wrecking a bunch of cars through it. So nice car control there by the 139. Just I'm amazed. I thought they were really going around. This is one of those tracks that when one car gets sideways, it seems about 7 or 8 of them go with it.
That's true. And going back to the point of not bringing out the caution, I've done a couple drivers where maybe their heart isn't where it needs to be, and they've wrecked their car and possibly brought out the caution once their frustration level is gone pretty much sky high after tapping the wall like that. So great job for not bringing out the caution. Great recovery, and unfortunately his car is damaged. It's still very early on in the race. He can go down pit road, repair damage, as long as he doesn't take any tires. Then it will not change however many tires he has left over.
Yeah, exactly. And the last race that we had on 3-Wide TV, other than Dirt Week, was the All-Star race, Hacksaw PC's All-Star race at Chicagoland. And my team ended up taking tires early, like 20 laps into that 200-mile race. And we had to like double stent the middle of the race on that set of tires. So you got to make sure that your strategy is right. And it was just a mistake on our pit crew's part. And unfortunately, it happened, but it happened. So we had to deal with it. They don't change the rules just because it happens to somebody.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've brought it up, and since the December Dirt Week, you've had, and the league itself has had many fantastic additions get announced, even a little bit before Dirt Week. I don't know if you want to go ahead and take the time to mention some of the fantastic sponsors and who they are, and thank them for helping out.
Yeah, the first one that signed on with us, and it was before the Hacksaw PC's All-Star race, was Hacksaw PC's. And they're actually the primary sponsor, a title sponsor of the Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series this year. A computer is going to go to the champion of the series. A little bit over a $900 value right there. And then they've also thrown some money into the prize fund. So that's a huge one, and that's a big deal for the Premier Cup Series to have Hacksaw's PCs. Nick and his family just put together great machines over there. We're proud to have them on board with us. The second one was, and we announced the 10-race Wheelman Showdown just before the end of last year. And those 10 races, we picked 10 of the most difficult tracks and the most different tracks on the schedule. Darlington, Atlanta, Bristol are part of that series, as well as the Charlotte Roval. And it's a championship within a championship. And Shane Parrish, who's in the 81 car out there, owns a couple Surf Pro franchises and jumped on board to make it the Surf Pro Wheelman Showdown. And it just really came together real nice. That one is going to offer a $750 value Sam Maxwell custom steering wheel. So what was the championship prize of the Premier Series last year is now the championship prize for the 10-race mini series within the championship, known as the Surf Pro Wheelman Challenge. So that's really cool that they've jumped on board. He's also the title sponsor of the 10 races that make that up. So it really is a great deal. I mean, we've had a ton of race sponsors come on board with us for this season. We got just 7 or 8 races left to sell sponsorship on, and can take care of that. If anybody's out there watching and wants to have their name on a race, we'd be more than happy to do it. Just contact us either through the website or on our social media channels, and we'll be more than happy to help you guys pick out a package that fits you well. We got many different packages here with this league that we can bring sponsors in of just about any size.
Now, Jim, I've heard, and just from passersby that the sponsors that are sponsoring the Miami 300 for this year, they're pretty swell.
Yeah, we, as a league promoter, we pay broadcasters to broadcast races. That's just how it works. We basically buy the airtime. But in the case of the Miami race, 3 Wide TV's paying us to put that race on.
Yeah, it's just I love Homestead because you and ASRS are very, very nice. I didn't have to slap you with the Homestead is not the finale penalty fee that we charge broadcasters that don't have Homestead as the finale. So that's 2 years in a row you've avoided that fee. So that's just because you guys are nice and ASRS has treated us so well. I just figured I'd let you guys know you don't have to pay that.
Carlos, that's all fine and dandy, but we got a battle up front for the lead here with the 190 car, I believe, right there on the back bumper of Mitch Brown and Greg Evans still lurking back there, just buzzing around, waiting for something to happen in his 154. Tim Knott's having a great run up there in the 41 as well, up to 4th place.
Yeah, I've noticed that the 190 of Eric Stanford was slowly moving his way up ever since we showcased him. As he's now going side by side for the race lead. Of course, that inside line isn't working out, and I believe Eric has been doing a fantastic job of keeping his tires safe. But now it's come to the deciding factor of should he go for the lead or hang back and save his tires even more? As clearly Greg Evans is not a fan of staying behind other drivers. He just wants to get to the lead as quickly as he can. Getting himself back around Eric Stanford into 2nd place. Mitch Brown, though, however, his lap times have begun to just slowly go down a bit, as they are about 0.7 of a second slower than the peak fast lap that they should be running. With Mitch Brown just being slightly slower than the rest of the top 3, only by a couple thousandths. It's not much, but eventually it does add up 24 laps into this race. His caution is out. Oh no, I see Richard Stallings is stalled on the racetrack. Let's go back and see if we can see what happened. Oh, the 15. So something else happened. Richard Stallings was slowing down for a previous incident?
It looks like the 17 and the 02 came together in the tri-oval.
Oh yeah, right
and
there.
You see, what you're going to see there is that's the danger of going below the line in the apron here at Kansas. When you come back up on the track, it upsets the car just enough, and it's not a good situation to get down there. And it just sent the 17 car right up into the 02, and then the 17 around. And Brandon Key had nowhere to go. Michael Whiting had nowhere to go. They just kind of slid on through there. Did Brandon Key? Brandon Key got sideways and then hit in the side by the 22 there.
Yeah, just some heavy contact there, merging back into the racing line. I don't know. To me, it's always been risky. I've usually generally avoided it unless it was definitely necessary. But we got a bunch of drivers going down pit road. As Jim, is it a little too early to go down pit road, or do you think now would be the good time since you don't know when the cautions are coming out?
Well, we're 25 laps into this 100-lap race, so we're a quarter of the way through it. I don't know. It's a tough call. I mean, you do have this set of tires and then an additional set, but now you're going to have to pretty much go about 37 laps on the next 2 sets, which isn't unheard of. But I don't know. Might just be a little bit early.
Yeah, I think it's okay, considering we don't know when the next caution is. If the next caution comes out in 5 laps, then maybe I don't know. It could have been better to just hold on. But that's the hard thing about that. You don't know when the caution's gonna come out, unless of course you bring out the caution on purpose, and then if that's the case, then that's something else that well, let's not go into that. But I don't know. I think it'll be
you
fine.
wouldn't like the penalty that goes with that. It's a pretty hefty one.
Yeah, if you have a
As a
triple
matter of
digit
fact,
number, you wouldn't have a number.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you had a triple digit number, you wouldn't have a number, and if you had a double digit number, I don't think we're gonna see you for a while.
Yeah, it's a harsh penalty. It definitely has to be a harsh penalty. Thankfully, as far as I can tell, all of these drivers are not the type of drivers that would do that, and thankfully never had to encounter somebody that's had to do that. Also, going into this race, Jim, what are you seeing? What are you liking? What are you not liking so far? 27 laps into this race.
What I'm liking is the maneuverability of the cars. They can go to the high side, they can go down low, they can run the middle. There's a lot of moving going on through the field. What I don't like is that brick wall that the second place car kind of hits as it gets close to the leader. Another thing that I don't like, and this is nothing against people that do it. It's nothing against the driver in particular that's doing it right there, right now. If you are running at the back of the pack or mid pack or the back of the middle of the pack, whatever, and you stay out and you're the only car that did, with that many laps on the tires and everybody else pitted, that's a really risky decision, and I'm going to watch for tire spin on the restart here, wheel spin, with that 43 car. It's not that I don't think that Richard can handle it, but at the same time, I'm a little concerned because everybody else in the field pitted, and it wasn't like he was charging through the field. He was just kind of where he was, and that's a bit of a dangerous call right there.
That's an astute observation.
He does have an extra set of tires in the pits over everybody else, so it might pay off in the end, but we'll have to wait and see. You will remember, Carlos, I did that at Kentucky and went in reverse on the restart last year.
Did not work out too well
in the Truck Series. Well, we didn't gate anything. We didn't really lose anything. I think we lost 1 or 2 spots, but we were up front leading the race for a while, and got some great TV time for our Menards Toyota over there in the Truck Series. So there you go. That's 2, by the way, for everybody that's counting on the year, as it looks like we're getting ready to go back green.
That's right. Peterson's going to pull off, and the big question is the 43 going to go, or is he going to spin his tires? 43 starts heading off, a little wobble, but actually nothing serious. As a fantastic start by the 51, as he's actually very even with Richard Fletcher. Going into turn 1, I highly doubt Fletcher's going to be able to hold on to that lead. They're going to look, no, he doesn't. He's already let 2 cars by, almost 3 cars by. He's going to drop back a little bit more by the time he gets the backstretch.
The anchor's away there with the 43. Anchor's hanging out the back of it as it's going backwards really quick. But we'll see how that pays off in the latter stages.
Oh, we have a new race leader. The 154 got him by around the 51 of Mitch Brown, as I'm getting all my names and numbers mixed up. As well, we were definitely seeing the aggressive nature that the Greg Evans has had, especially this early on to the races. The 51 almost slid job right into the quarter panel of Greg Evans. As that's going to cost him a little, as we're seeing the 190. You can't see his numbers there. That's going to be a paint scheme violation unless it's an issue on my end. But he's going to try to go right by on the inside. Didn't work out as well he thought it would have, as now the 190 and the 51 are battling side by side.
Yeah, and I think Mitch might have used up a little bit of his tires on that up to speed lap right after the green, because Greg Evans kind of was shot out of a cannon there and just got it. But I'll tell you what, the 154 and the 190 car, if I was either one of those guys, I don't know if I would be pushing the issue as much as I am at this point in the race. We've kind of addressed the triple digit situation. We've addressed the premier license situation. And those guys don't have it yet. And with Daytona lurking next week, I don't know if I'd take the risk of throwing away a really good race here. to battle for the win, and basically a tryout race. This is a glorified practice session for these guys. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd be pushing it that hard just yet, especially on new tires.
Well, clearly the 180 was not listening because he drove it into turn 3 and 4 like he was a championship contender, and it held on. Second place now goes to the Eric Stanford. That being said, of course, Mitch Brown isn't trying to give that up too easily. Going back to what you were saying, I do believe Greg Evans may have some sort of incident points if he... Oh, the behind!
Oh, and
no!
around goes the sticks! Oh, no, big one. They got to stay down there? Come on.
Caution is out.
Yeah, just at the last second there, the 87 had nowhere to go. You're going to see it here on a... And you see, you can't really blame the 6 or the 81 there. They just kind of ran out of room.
Ooh,
one hit the wall, the other one kind of ran them up. Yeah, the 87 got the bad end of that deal. But, and the 3 car was just riding along like he was just going to clear everything and be smooth sailing, and bam, he got hooked by the right. Man, that's a really bad feeling when that happens. It's happened to me a few times in the last couple of years, and that's not a good feeling to have whenever you're at full speed.
That's something we weren't totally expecting, an incident involving 4 two-digit or Premier Series drivers. Thankfully, in this case, no non-Premier Series drivers got involved, so the trials for them are still going strong. I don't know about this. Okay, good call, as I believe the 81 is going to be going down parallel to get some damage repair, not get any tires. Although if he does accidentally make that mistake, then it could be costly. Now, going back, is this a good thing for the 43 of Richard Fletcher?
Well, they got a few laps on those tires, so they knocked the good off of them. But here's the thing with the new tire model that we got here in December. The first 3 or 4 laps, you're just trying to hold on while the tires come up to temp. And then you start to wear into the tires. So the first 3 or 4 laps for him are going to be pivotal in this run to get up to speed and hold the speed. The guys that are ahead of him that already took those tires a few laps ago, it wasn't that many laps ago, those guys already knocked that looseness and knocked off the freshness of the tires where the car gets real loose. So it's going to take him a couple laps, but what you're going to see in the case of maybe 10, 12, or 15 laps down the line, he should be faster than the leaders. And that's granted that the cars were equal on speed prior to this. With the little bit of speed differential there between the two, I don't know if he'll be faster than them. He was a little bit down on the speed chart in qualifying, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. The track is changing. It's getting hotter. And all kinds of things are going on out there with the tires. So the 87 looks like he has withdrawn from the race there with his damage. There's another one that's going to hit the damaged vehicle clock.
Yep, and why don't we go ahead and take this time to talk to one of the Premier Series drivers that is currently running in the top 5, and that's going to be the 51 of Mitch Brown. Mitch, you have a copy, buddy?
Yeah.
Hey, so very early on this race, you are currently 3rd after starting on the pole. What are your quick thoughts so far?
Just gotta stay up front because this setup, it gets really tight on traffic, so I'm just kind of trying to defend the position as much as I can and stay up towards the top 5 at least, because you don't want to get back there in the middle pack because it gets really tight.
All right, good take. And one last thing before, because we're getting close, I believe, one to go pretty soon. These 2 drivers ahead of you are all triple-digit numbers. They're trying to go for a couple of the rare Premier Series spots. What do you think about their driving so far? They're being a little too aggressive for you, or are you going to hit them right back with the Premier Series attack?
You know, they want to drive how they want to drive. That's fine. I always think to myself, I got a PSL, they don't, so they need to think about how they drive around us Premier Series guys, because they need to get accepted and invited for the Premier Series, and I don't. So, you know, it's all in their hands, not mine. So pretty much it.
All right. Well,
Hey, Mitch, it's Jim up here in the booth. Hey, I don't know if I'd be holding on to that Premier license like you are right now. We saw you wreck on the first lap at Kentucky a couple weeks ago, and nearly wreck on the first turn of the first lap here tonight at Kansas. So, I don't know. Maybe at the K tracks, maybe we'll have to put you towards the back and keep you off the front row. Or
Maybe,
something.
maybe so.
Mitch, one last thing before we do
Carlos
let you
thought
go.
it was Vegas.
One last thing
What?
before we do let you go, Mitch. Is that first lap damage hurting you, or is it fine?
No, it doesn't seem to hurt me that much. It's just a little crinkle. That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Good luck in this upcoming restart.
All right, thanks, guys.
Whew, whew. It's, some shots fired by Jim. And Jim, I'll let you go ahead and handle this restart.
Oh, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm shopping on my Menards app.
All right. Well, the pace car is.
All right. Here we go. Greg Evans will lead them back in the 154, and we're back green here at the Kansas Speedway. Ooh, Mitch Brown below that line before the start-finish line on the restart. We'll see what race control deems with that. That's usually not a legal move, so we'll have to wait and see.
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe with all this excitement, Mitch forgot what series he was running in. He's no longer running official races where you can do that. We'll see if the man in the officiating tower, Sam, can catch that and give him the penalty he might be getting. Sam is in.
I'm sure he's making sure he looks at it. Yeah, Sam is up there. He's a couple booths over from us. Maybe we'll give him a little wave here, see what he's up to. I think he looks a little busy over there right now. So, and Sam is really old school. He's up there with a pen and paper. He doesn't do this on a tablet or a laptop or anything like that. He scores these races and penalizes and does all that, logs everything with a pen and paper. But then again, that's how we both do it. So I guess it's a pretty neat way to do it. Plus, we have a written record down the road.
That's true. Well, Sam is a fantastic person, and if there's going to be anybody that's going to be doing that besides you, I'm sure he's going to do a fantastic job of keeping it safe as the 51 gets awfully close to the outside line, as these three cats have just been going at it to town. As hold on one moment, is that the 19 of Cody Spiker? I'm sorry, Cody.
Yeah, Cody Spiker right there. And he just took advantage of that one right meow. Since you said cats, I had to get that in there.
Oh, no!
Oh, no!
Everybody's wrecking!
Oh! And that's the sad thing is there's a guy that's going for the Premier license, and they're just wadding him up left and right, man.
Oh, we got
but there's a guy that's going for a Premier license. Oh.
Everything happened all at once. I don't know who to pick.
Well, I'm going to go with the 51, and the reason for that is that he just had barely had his nose up on the right rear of the 154. The 154, yeah, they were both below the line, but he easily could have backed out of that, let him have the spot, and fought on later. But Mitch is a very aggressive driver, as we see. He's retired from the race. He gets a reputation as being a very aggressive driver, and you're going to see it this season. People are going to start racing him the way that he races them, and that's not going to be a very good thing for him down the line. He got it a lot at Homestead, and we heard a lot about it from the Homestead Championship race last year. So that's a tough call there. But I would, I think I'd probably fall to both. But I think the 51 had a little more into that.
Upside down. Can't quite get the image.
Yeah. What really stinks about it is you got guys like the 125 car out there that just nothing to do with the wreck. He's trying to get a license and just gets piled into that wreck.
Yeah, I was gonna mention with getting the record straight, I do personally know Kyle Zimmer very well, since I do broadcast a bunch of the races he is on with the Sim Possible drivers. He's He is a disabled driver, and he does a fantastic job with what he has. And I just feel bad that he had to. He pretty much had a pretty much good race, essentially wiped bad with that incident. With the pretty much there were two separate incidents. The leaders were wrecking, as well as a driver hit the outside wall. I believe he was third, and then spun back into the racetrack. I don't think that would have caused anything, but there were two separate incidents that pretty much over 10 drivers got involved in.
Yeah, the car that was upside down was the 34 Kelsey Rogers, who is a new dad since we last raced, and probably scared his family there as he was upside down after that one. That definitely weeded out a lot of competitors here, and that's a tough call.
That's a real shame. A lot of drivers, and we are about 7 laps away from halfway. Do you pit now? I say no. And it looks like a lot of the drivers
Stay
are
out.
not. It's way too early. How many laps to go before you would consider going down pit road when a caution comes out?
The earliest I would pit is about lap 65.
Okay. Now, of course, if the green flag comes out, I don't think any of these drivers are going to touch pit road at all, unless something bad happens. There's just no point in going down pit road under green flag conditions.
Yep, I believe the drivers just got a stern warning there from the race control, Sam Maxwell. So that's always a good thing. Maybe they'll calm down a little bit. It was really good up until that one, but another big wreck.
And it's what you mentioned. Well, we're not gonna actually go ahead and give fault to any of these drivers. That's more what the officials are doing. And granted, you are an official, but you're technically working the booth right now. But it's what you mentioned. Some of these drivers, not the ones that got involved, but a couple of the drivers are running up front, kind of putting themselves in a position where something like this could happen. The aggressive driving. It's just something that maybe could have been thought about a little bit different if you're going for that Premier Series license. Jim, what's your take on that?
Yeah, and my issue with the way that they were racing is not that they were racing hard for the lead, but the case here for this race in particular is that it's some of these guys' last chance to get the PSL. Daytona next week is a crapshoot. We don't know what's going to happen. You could get wrecked on lap 1. You could win the thing. Who knows? You don't know, and there's a more of a potential for something out of your hands to take you out of the race than here at Kansas. So although these 1.5 miles are turning into mini super speedways with the way that we're all kind of grouped together, or the way the drivers are grouped together now that I'm not a Cup Series driver, but my issue and the thing that I kind of take sides with here is that I feel that the 51 car already has that PSL. He knows that he's in, and there's really no reason to race these guys as hard as he was. But on the flip side, those guys are racing to try to get in and get the license, and they need to be raced hard. But their night's over with. They have no chance right now, and they didn't even make it to halfway. I mean, I know where my vote would be on that, and I'll be on the voting panel, so I don't know. But I think that was an aggressive move by a couple drivers. Anyways, we're going back green here with the 19 car and it looks like the 14, but it's really the 149 of Jake Douglas there on the outside for the restart. 194. See, there's so many 4s and 9s and 1s and all kinds of things going on here.
Now that would be something that would be going into the penalty report that comes out every today's Tuesday, every Wednesday. Now, of course, the penalty reports that has been generated this last couple of weeks, including the one tomorrow, it is technically unofficial because these are trial races. However, once the season does begin, those will become incredibly official. And I gotta be honest, as a broadcaster, I kind of look forward to seeing what penalties have been going down. You guys have some of the most detailed penalty reports I have ever seen.
You know, it's almost like the iRacing release notes when you read some of them as you go along. There's a lot of duplicate penalties, you know, things that multiple drivers did. And we just want everybody to have an opportunity to understand that, hey, this is where the line is, and this is where the line is drawn. If you cross it, this is what's going to happen. And so Sam has done a nice job of putting together some the penalty reports early this season. I did them last year. I still have a part in them this year, but with me taking on the new job and everything right at the start of the year, I've been kind of focusing on that. Sam's been doing a lot of the clerical stuff behind the scenes. Of course, the entries, processing entries, and doing all the membership stuff, I still do in my spare time. But yeah, it's been a busy beginning of the season, and I'm kind of like you. I kind of like seeing what the penalty report's going to have myself, and we have an ongoing joke with at least one person. Oh, come on! There goes another one.
Oh, the three of heavy damage included. I believe that's Will Worcester getting caught up in there as well. Caution is out. This is almost the same thing that we've been seeing tonight, and those are drivers re-merging back. Right there, we see that with, not quite sure who that is. A couple of different paint schemes for me to get used to. And a couple of
It's the 89 of David Washington.
That's
that was in there with the 77. Was the one? Well, yeah, it's still the 198 on their ticker tonight. Will be the 89 car 2 weeks whenever we go to Daytona for the opener. He's already a premier licensed driver. Everything's good there. Just didn't get the numbers and everything switched over in time for here tonight. But Will Worcester definitely got a piece of that. That's just tough to see right there.
Let's take a look at it from the blimp cam. Will Worcester was having thoughts about joining tonight. Of course, his wife, the final word in all of his relationships, just said he has to race. And unfortunately for tonight, Will is just not having a good time.
You know, I wonder if she's got a sister, because that might be the perfect wife for me right there if she's encouraging him to go racing.
All right, take it easy there, Cameron Rich. We got to stop talking about people's wives like that.
If she's got a sister or something that's single, we'll have to find out.
I'm sure she's in the chat. I'm sure she's gonna be typing something. I'm sure she's typing something right now as I'm staying out of that conversation. As a Jim,
that's exactly why I said it.
50 laps to go. We're halfway with this race, as I can't get anything out of there. As it's definitely not what you as an official wanted to see. I believe the number out there being shown a couple of days ago was 14.3% caution rate. Of course, that's going to be a little bit different here tonight. As the previous tryout races, Jim, in your point of view, how have they been going?
They've been hot and cold. So we've had some rough ones. We've had some good ones. This has been a rough one. We're only halfway through this one here at Kansas, and yeah, it's hasn't been clean and green like we expected. One note to catch up on here: the 43 car looks like he suffered some damage, so we won't fully get to see if that experiment will pay off here at the end.
That's a real shame. Quick wife sister update: Nikki Worcester does not have a sister. However, she is on the record in the chat saying that if she did, she would introduce you to her.
Well, thanks, Nikki. I appreciate that. We'll have to keep in touch. It's always nice for Nikki Worcester to be in our chat, and she keeps everybody honest over here. So,
Jim,
we definitely enjoy having her watch.
I know the perfect date for perfect place for the first date. You can take her to go see the sales at Menards.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that, because everything in the store is 11% off with a mail-in rebate this week at Menards.
Wait, really?
So,
like, I'm
yeah,
not even
I think
joking.
it's a great.
You there, Jim?
I am here.
Perfect. You were saying about the sale?
Yeah, everything's 11% off at Menards with a mail-in rebate this week. So make sure you stop on down at your local Menards store and get all the goodies that you need there, from Gatorade to lumber to power tools, just about everything in between.
Well, that's definitely interesting. As we should be getting the one to go this time by. As couple events that's been going on since we've done this. I think the most major one's the iRacing 24 hours. Some of these drivers, I do believe, did participate in it, as well as myself. Unfortunately, I did not have too much good luck, as it usually goes for me. The 24 hours, I had a good time. But Jim, what have you personally been up to since the off season began?
We've been just kind of preparing for the 2020 season, and for my semi-retirement over here with the just running the development series with the trucks and the Surf Pro Grand National Series, kind of cutting back on our Cup Series program. So just been kind of preparing ourselves for that and spending some time with family. We lost my grandfather a little over a month ago in December, and went through all that just before the holidays all kicked off. So been a long bit since we were on track last, and I'm just happy to see racing season kicking back up for us.
Same as well. Of course, we've been busy broadcasting other leagues, but Nikki Worcester, thank you so much for being on the chat. Usually I'd be typing to you, but I'm in the booth, so I kind of have to concentrate on a couple of things. Kyle Zimmer, unfortunately, man, that's sucks he got involved. Of course, next week I'm sure you're going to try to do even better. Got Jake Campbell in the chat, Doug Mullins on the chat, everybody out here, Mitch Brown in the chat. No Mercy also in the chat. Pace car is off. We're going to be restarting with less than halfway to go. 47 laps to go once these drivers cross the start-finish line. Jake Douglas in the 194 is going to be trying to reeling them in. On the gas, that Ford Mustang is, as the 19 machiner Cody Spiker just did not get as good of a start as previous. As I thought I saw a couple. Yeah, there's a couple of drivers wrecking in the back. Caution is out, as I believe that's Alex Giese that got involved. Let's go back and take a look. Jim, what are you seeing over there?
Well, the thing I really noticed on the restart was that we've thinned the herd quite a bit. Looks
whoa.
like the 77.
That's a money shift.
Just lost it, yeah. Whew.
That's a money shift if I've ever seen it. It's been a while since I've seen one.
Now here's something that is interesting, and this is new for 2020 for us. So the 77 just caused his second caution of the night. And we've been watching that, where we can see the drivers getting the end of the line penalties and all that over here in the sim. He just caused his second caution of the night. That is a disqualification at the moment of the second caution. So that would be 2 strikes. That would park the 77 for a race this season, as you only get 2 cautions every 4 races. So just things to kind of keep in mind as the season goes on.
Hold on, Jim.
Little things.
Let's take a look at on board with the 77. I noticed this as you were explaining that. He's redlining there. It looks like the car is not shifting. It's not letting him shift. It's not that he shifted to the wrong gear. It just wouldn't shift now. I thought these cars had rev limiters. So I guess they either removed them or they never had them in the first place. And I was just going off of bad info. But unfortunately, that's what happened to the 77. Is that engine is gone. It just did not shift. And I've been in a situation where the car in the B car a couple years ago in Daytona on the restart would not go from second to third, and I got wrecked from behind because if you don't shift right away, they're not going to stop for you. And Jim, that's just either a mechanical failure or something went wrong, because these cars, it's usually not hard to shift at all.
Well, there's a couple things that I think happen there. So it'll still redline even with the chip. It's just hitting the chip and bouncing on the red line as it's hitting the chip, and it makes some funny noises now. Alex is a hearing impaired driver that we have in the league, and us, Carlos, we can hear it hitting the chip and obviously see the red light down there, but it makes a definite sound. The pitch of the sound of the engine changes when it hits that, and he just doesn't have that. So that may have played a role in it. I think he probably just grabbed at it and probably went from third back into second, and it just around it went, because that's happened to be a few times at a certain track in Canada that the trucks raced on last year.
I've had a couple of friends that has done that. Justin Kolb, a previous commentator here, who has done that lap 1 before turn 1 on Road America. Just killed his car there from the pole. So that's the only one that comes to my mind right away. But I had something. Oh, yes. I do want to say Peter Short is here. I apologize for forgetting you there for a quick moment. But We do hope you feel better. Peter wanted to be behind the booth here tonight and help you out, Jim. And unfortunately, though, he's still under the weather, wasn't able to broadcast on Sunday. So I'm sure Peter wants to get behind the booth very, very quickly. And pretty soon, he's going to get the chance to do that because, Jim, when is the first official race of the season?
Well, Carlos, I'm glad you asked. Actually, 2 weeks ago was the first official race of the season over on the development series side with the truck series kicking off at Atlanta. But then last week we had the alternate with the Serve Pro Grand National Series. They were also at Atlanta. This week the truck series heads off to Darlington for what will probably be the Too Tough to Tame race of the year. But that all falls on the development series on Wednesday, which we don't get to see here on 3 Wide TV. The Tuesday night Hacksaw's PC's Cup Series will kick off the season actually on February 11th, I believe it is, Tuesday night at Daytona with the 250-mile race. But the week before the 4th of February will be the dual races. So what you're going to see in those dual races is you're not going to see, well, you will see Brian Yazin. You won't see guys like Will Worsler and Mitch Brown in those races. What we did with our dual races is we already locked in the guys that finished up in the points last year. I think there were 13 of them that got locked in. So those guys are already locked into the race. And then the races are going to be split. They're going to qualify. The non-locked-in drivers will qualify, be split into 2 essentially heat races to set the grid for the Daytona 250. And then everybody that has qualified for the race will re-qualify on Tuesday night, the 11th of February, for their actual starting position in the 250-mile race there at Daytona.
That's a very interesting take on the dual formats. Definitely the first time I've seen it like that, so props to you guys. As one more restart here to go. At the moment, pace car is off. The 194 Jake Douglas is itching to go. He's going to hit the gas right now.
And he's gone. There he goes. Nice, clean restart there. So everybody kind of gave room. They're all trying to get into the spot that they want to be in and roll with it here into turn 1. You know, Kansas is a pretty wide track. You could probably go 4 wide here if you really felt comfortable around the other drivers.
You actually want to see
definitely
that.
3 wide comfortably. I do want to see 4 wide because then we'll have to change the name of this channel to 4 Wide TV.
I already have the logo. No lie. I already have the logo for it when we need to do that. It's something, but I mostly meant it as an official. I'm sure as a commentator, as a viewer, you are definitely excited to see 4 wide, but as an official, it's kind of like, all right, let me get my pen and paper out. I'm sure Sam would have gotten his pen and paper out and gotten ready to write, because I'm sure something bad probably would have happened going 4 wide.
4 Wide TV coming April 1st, 2020.
Oh, yes. That's some contact there, I believe, with the 190 and the 41. Oh, sorry, the 28 of Troy Hayes. But thankfully, none of the
Troy's
made it too bad.
The 19's on the wall, and he saved it. The 28 car looks a lot different this year than it did last year, so it's really kind of throwing us both here tonight. We're used to seeing Troy with a black car, and here he rolls out with a white and green car. I mean, you don't get much different than what you had last year to this year with that. So that thing definitely looks pretty cool, and it's great to see sponsors on board with all of these cars. And we've talked about it, Carlos, before with the sponsors. In this series, you have to have written permission from your sponsors that appear on your cars. So these are all actual sponsors of these cars. Obviously, the car that's out front has Clint Boyer's scheme on it and the wrong numbers. So we're just going to ignore that one while we talk about this for a minute. But the rest of these all have sponsorship on the cars that is sponsorship that's on board with them. So, and drivers have the opportunity to go out and sell that spot or donate it to a charity or a friend's company or the wife's company, whatever they want to put on the car. And it's just a really cool concept that kind of keeps this series from looking like it doesn't look like what you see on Sunday every week. The cars, the body styles and the racing does, but the cars look totally different. We actually get about 1 or 2 messages a month from various people asking us where they can buy tickets to our next race. So that's always a neat thing to get that. It looks so real that people want to buy tickets to it.
That's true.
Maybe someday we'll sell them.
Well, I'm sure we can probably set that up. I don't want to do it, but if you're the one paying our bill, so if you want to go ahead and set it up so it's restricted only to certain people, I can be done. That being said, going back to paint scheme topic very quickly, this is not an official Premier Series race. This is a tryout race, and this is an impromptu test broadcast. So of course, some of these you're not going to find a copywritten scheme or a scheme from a sponsor that is not approved. In an official Premier Series race, but we also sponsor the driver, and we being 3Y TV, we're sponsoring Dave Wilson, another one of the fantastic Impossible racing drivers. He is also a disabled driver. So getting him qualified for Premier Series license and getting to participate in it is going to be fun. That means I get to broadcast him Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of the majority of the weeks, and he's got a pretty nice car. I don't know if you had a chance to see that, but it's a nice car that he's got with the 3Y TV colors.
Yeah, we're really happy to have Dave on board with us this year. He earned his way in, and he's definitely put in the time, and I'm excited to see him in these races. I think he has a legitimate shot at winning multiple races this year. But I guess time will tell. The field is going to be really tight. You see what happens. The guys that we kind of had picked for the win are nowhere to be found. They're in the garage already. So this could be anybody's race. Where's that guy that I rode off in the 43 car a little while ago?
Oh, he is currently 17th. He's not doing too well right now. His car is definitely down on power, and he doesn't have a hood.
But he's still on the lead lap.
He's still
anything
driving.
Can happen.
Yeah. That being said, Will Worcester, who's pretty much been involved in almost half of these incidents, he's still at it. He's still at it, and he's running 7th. He's actually past the driver. He's 6th right now, as a couple of these drivers in front of him are going too wide, and they're batting for position. Will is definitely not out of this now. I don't think he has the car. Caution is out.
Caution.
04 and the 17 getting involved in some heavy damage. Go back and take a look and see what happens.
Hearing over the radio the 04 call out the all me, and Sam is making live calls up there in race control, and at Daytona it'll be Sam and myself a couple of weeks, but yeah, it looks like the 04 just got sideways. Anyways, the drivers can still call out the all me if they feel that they're to blame. Just want to call it out and take credit for it, get it over with, and move on.
Right there, we saw the 04 tapping the outside wall, and that got him loose. The 17 had nowhere to go. Richard Stallings getting some more damage on that race car. Not been his night, but fortunately for him, he does have a Premier Series license, and so I'm sure at the end of the day, he's going to be he's going to be sleeping perfectly fine tonight, knowing that he doesn't have to have one final shot at it at Daytona next week.
Yeah, one of the things that we're seeing here.
Oh, here we go.
When they get in the wall, they get sideways. Yeah, we're going to have some pit strategy here. Well, I don't think there's going to be much strategy. 4 tires and fuel, and take it to the end. We're within 35 laps that I figured we would pit.
You say
make
that
it to the end.
Tyler Ashley stayed out. I don't know about that. This could have been a mistake, but 31 laps to go. I think it's a good time to pit, unless, I don't know, maybe Taylor Ashley might be onto something. If we go on to like 10 laps to go and a caution does come out, Tyler Ashley will be in prime position to bring it down pit road and get fresh tires. And honestly, that's a strategy that you also kind of need to have some good luck go your way, because you need to have that caution come out with a good enough laps for you to make up those positions. And 2, you got to make up those positions. The cars in front of you are going to be on old tires. They're going to be slipping and sliding around, and depending on how many laps you have, you're going to have to push it. You can put yourself in a very aggressive situation where you could get involved in another incident. Jim, is that type of strategy worth it in your point of view?
Well, here's how it'll pay off for him. If we get a caution within the next 10 laps and he comes down, that'll put us at lap 80 or so, then yes. If we don't and the caution comes out any later than that, he's just going to hit the brick wall of air there. and that's a product of the low horsepower, high downforce package that the Hacksaw's PC's Cup Series runs with. You just can't gain what you could gain in the old days, whenever you had all the horsepower and none of the downforce, where you really had to drive the car. I'm not saying that these things are easier. It's just a different style of racing for these drivers. And what you're going to see is that we saw it at the beginning of the race. As you get closer to the lead car, it gets harder and harder. As a matter of fact, when you're a second behind that car, you feel like Superman, because you're knocking 2, 3, 4 tenths off a lap, catching him. And then you get to his back bumper where you're about 2 tenths or 3 tenths off, and you can't go anywhere. Then you got to figure out, okay, if he goes high in the corner, I'm going to go low, or if he goes low, I'm going to go high. And you try to get outside of that draft and try to get outside of having the air coming off his car and hitting the front of your car and causing that problem. Not really sure what causes that 100%. I know it happens with the real cars too. I think it's just the way that the turbulent air is coming off of the car. If you're tucked right up on the bumper, like bumper to bumper, I think you're fine. But it's that little bit of air space in the middle, and that air is very turbulent. It's just like when you hit turbulence in an airplane and start getting bumped all around. The car just wants to go to the right. It wants to go out to the wall. So it's not a really comfortable feeling.
Now, the top 3, Tyler Ashley, John Jenkins, and Jordan Berry stayed out. John Jenkins and Jordan Berry are Premier Series drivers. They do have the 2-digit numbers. Tyler Ashley is kind of in a position where the official is going to be looking at him and seeing what's going to happen next. Will he spin his tires? Will he do a good job? And that's all going to go into factors of getting his to see if he can get a Premier Series license. This is a interesting strategy, and he's not alone. So he's got 2 other people trying to do this. But the question is, how is he going to execute? Is he going to put other people in a dangerous position, or is he going to do everything as the best that he can do and possibly get a decent shot at getting a Premier Series license?
I think that if I could offer him advice, I would tell him to take the conservative route here. Don't fight it too much right off the bat. Let those guys, if they catch you, let them go, and then try to catch them back on the strategy. Here's the thing. So he's got 2 allies there with the 7 and the 31 right there on the same tire strategy as we're headed back green. And look at that little bit of wheel spin there.
Yeah,
those are his allies here on the restart. But here's the thing, right behind those guys, and you have the 194 who's trying to achieve a PSL as well, Premier Series license. And then you have the 6 of Jared Haggard. Those are 2 of the most aggressive drivers on the racetrack. They would probably wreck their own grandmother to get to the grocery store checkout first. So I don't know if I would want to be in that situation just yet. Here comes Jake Douglas in that 194 car as he is making a run. They're almost 3 wide.
Oh, they're wrecking behind.
There we go. And there goes Will Worsler again.
Heavy damage. Oh no, the 43 again. Ooh. And he's crabbing. Let's take a look at the replay, see what happened. Ooh, contact between 2 Premier Series drivers as the 29 either got tight or the 6 came down. We're going to take another look and see what happened. Jim, what did you see?
I think the 29 just kind of ran out of real estate there and got into the 6. That was an aggressive move. He made a run for it, tried to slide up, and just didn't have the room to pull the slider out of the corner. Then the 6 car, it almost, if you watch that from the air there, if we could get that helicopter or blimp cam again, it almost looks like they straightened it out and then the 6 turned into the 29, but that might have just been me. But that was kind of, if you see it right there, so they touch. Yeah. And then the 6 straightens it out and then just turns left into the 29. That's, well,
he got loose.
He was just trying to gather it up or not.
He got loose, but there's another angle I want to see. This is the 28 of Troy Haight. Look how, I think he did make some contact, but look how close it was to the 28.
And watch that 6 car. So there it is. He gets into the wall, he gets loose, he straightens it out, and then bam, right back into him again. Yeah, the 28 might have punted the 6 there.
The 28 also got shoved up into the wall, but I believe that was the 41. I'm not sure. But I believe that was also a reaction due to the possible incident happening in front of them So I wouldn't really call this as two incidents happening at the same time, as Doug Mullins is calling to fire that spotter. So pretty active chat for a test broadcast that was pretty much done. I don't know, was it about 3 p.m. today or was it 5? It was about 3 p.m.
Yeah, it was pretty late in the day. I just want to draw attention over there to the 183 car who has come down the road and gotten tires. So don't think it's going to be a huge advantage to him at this point, just because there wasn't many laps on the tires and he lost a ton of track position. But we're going to have to wait and see how many cars were caught up in that and how many cars are going to be behind him because of that incident. So very well could pay off those couple lap fresher tires. But I know I said Kansas was hard on tires at the beginning of the race. I don't know if it's that aggressive with the tires and wears them out that quickly. So I don't know if that'll make a huge difference. He's going to be a little bit slower on the restart, as those other guys have knocked off the freshness on the tires, where the car's just kind of all over the track. And he might be able to get there, but we're going to have to wait and see. We still have 25 laps to go, so maybe.
It's still 25 laps to go. Well, it is kind of a short distance. It's still, it's still big enough where major things can happen. Of course, we mentioned that caution coming in with 10 laps to go. If it does happen, that 7 and the 31 are in prime position. Of course, in order to be there, they need to keep their cars clean, and the 7 does have some damage. I believe the 31 of Jordan Berry also has some damage. I'm not seeing as much as the 7. So the 31 could be in a better position as a... I don't know. 25 laps to go. Who do you think has this?
Man, I'm thinking if we rolled out the Menards Ford right now, we might have a shot at it. I don't know. It's been an aggressive race, and the thing is that it's really hard to pick a favorite, and a lot of it is because there's a lot of unknowns at the front of the field. These were not the guys that at the beginning of the race that we were picking to win the race, and that's nothing against these guys. They've survived this race, but I think that the guys that we called the favorites at the beginning have they're all sitting in the garage, and the drivers have probably already left the track. So I don't know. Quite possibly, Cody Spiker's been really good in the 19. The 190 car's been really good. Jake's been really good up there in his 194 car. Tim Knott has been literally, I think, in the top 5 just about every lap of this race. And Sam Crow is quietly having a nice night there with the 02 car, as he is, I believe, in the 6th position. So not really sure. From there on back, I think you're going to hit that big brick wall of air, and these guys really need to close this up on this restart. The 194 is lagging back incredibly much and causing up a outside lane to be about a line back. Yeah, and we're going to see what all happens here as the field is about to go green. He's almost a full car width or car length behind, and now he's going to try to get that run. Let's see if he gets it and gets the black flag before this. Nope, he got it. Yeah,
he got it.
Good restart there. We'll see if race control deems anything, unsatisfactory up there with that on the restart. But
the thing is
that a whole lot. Oh, we're 3 wide.
The thing is that Jake doesn't actually. Oh no, they're wrecking behind!
Oh, and he saved it.
Wow,
he saved it in front of everybody.
I need a replay of that, please. Stat.
You need a replay. I think the 190 needs a change of pants over there after that.
No, I think he's wearing his... That's netcode. That was some serious netcode there.
Meanwhile, back at the front of the field, Jake Douglas back out front on those fresh tires. John Jenkins and Jordan Berry 2nd and 3rd. Cody Spiker back there at 4th. And still lingering in the top 5, Tim Knott.
Yeah, that's something I was mentioning before. That fantastic netcode save. The 14 of Jake, kind of coming it very, very close. I don't think a penalty's happening, but he didn't need to do that, or if he would have been doing that, he wouldn't have had a reason to. He's got fresh tires compared to the 7 of John Jenkins. That being said, though, look at John Jenkins. He is second with about 20 lap differentials on tires, and I think he's trying to go for the lead there. Wow, Jim. I knew the drafting was there and the high downforce and everything. I just didn't think it would be such a huge difference. 20 lap tires, and the 7 of John Jenkins is laying there with the 194 of Jake. Jim, have you seen anything like this?
Well, you expect it at some of these tracks. And what you're going to see as the race goes on and as the difference in the tires comes about here, it does take a little bit for those fresher tires to come up to the air pressures that they need. By the way, the 183 up to 6th. The 7 is probably going to fall back down. Now that the 194, which on your TV screen looks like the 14 car, now that he's fully out front, and now they're side by side as I say that, but now that he's out front, he should be able to pull away. Remember, there's that bubble in the 7 car as we look right now is about where that bubble is. Anything farther back than that, you can kind of get a nice draft. And they're definitely racing hard. Don't think either one is worried about saving tires. Obviously, Jake does have those fresher tires, and John has a little bit older tires there with his number 7.
So 3 wide there in the front stretch. Wow, what a fantastic move! That's a good case of minding your P's and Q's and knowing where the other drivers are, because they were going 3 wide below the apron and everything, and they came back out of that without a scratch on anybody else's car. So what a move going into one, and thankfully it all worked out, considering that they're all now driving single file. Quickly looking back up front, that 7 car, he's still staying there with the race leader. I doubt he's gonna be able to do anything, but the line that he's been running, kind of running that lower line and then drafting the backstretch, I think that's key to him staying there. This last time he didn't do that, and now he's dropping a little. He went from 1.5 tenths to now 3 tenths of a second behind. He's gonna try that inside line now on turns 3 and 4. I think that's key to him staying there. Look how much time he gained. I don't know. I think there might be some additional grip on the inside now that the outside's been run into the ground. I don't think it's still past there, but that 7 car has gained 1.5 tenths of a second there, that 1 lap. Turns 1 and 2, he's staying on the high line and he's losing time. So that inside line is key for the 7. If he's going to do it on turns 3 and 4, he's going to gain back all the time he lost in turns 1 and 2. Jim, I don't know. I don't think those tires are really falling back as much as we thought they were. Either that or the draft is incredibly strong with these high downforce package. But that being said, Tim Knott coming out of nowhere. He's currently 3rd, and I think he's gonna wave all of this goodbye. And I think in a couple of laps he might be taking the race lead.
Yeah, the Douglas car there that's leading is running high side, which is the traditional Kansas line here on iRacing. Remember, this is a progressively banked track, so there's more banking, there's more grip up on the outside, right up against the wall than there is down at the bottom. It's just a higher degree of banking. So what you're going to see is that he's running up there, and by running up there, he's like probably very close to full throttle around the corner, maybe just a little bit of off throttle time, while the 7 is out of the throttle down on the inside, and that's why he loses a little bit. But that outside lane is going to wear the tires. I know it sounds weird because we were talking a little bit earlier about momentum and all that. Here comes Tim Knott for second and really going for the lead. But the outside lane, because you're going faster, it's wearing the tires a little bit more than the inside here. And look at that; they are just really close.
That is a risky move by Tim. Sorry to cut you off, but that's a risky move. That's something that I wouldn't trust the other drivers, but these drivers here, they're pretty much trusting the others. If that 7 car was not paying attention, there would have definitely been some contact at that 41 not gone below the apron as he's getting tight. He's gone from battling for the race lead to now almost making contact and losing spots left and right. As hold on. Oh, that's some trap laughter.
Here comes the 19. Yeah, the 19 car now is the car that is battling.
Oh, no, Tim!
Oh! Is he going to hang on to it? Let's take a look. Oh!
He's sacrificed
going to
himself.
just touch the wall.
Let's go back quickly and take a look at what happened there.
I'd like to see another angle of that. I wonder if he just hit the transition from the apron up onto the racetrack just the wrong way. Looks like that's what it was.
Oh, that's not a good angle. I don't know why I showed that one.
That just showed the progressive banking for everybody at home to see what it really looks like. Yeah, see, when he comes up, it kind of shoots the car up a little bit, and there was some contact there with the O2. But yeah, that was a pretty aggressive move there. Meanwhile, Cody Spiker with an aggressive move. John Jenkins right there, and they're 3 wide for second with Sam Crow down on the inside and clearing for second. Maybe. Yes, clearing. Now, if I was the O2, I would do this. I would slide up, block that outside lane so they can't get the momentum off the corner. You see that a lot here at Kansas. You see it at Kentucky, Vegas, and Chicago, places like that. Here comes the 19 back on the inside. That is a really, really dangerous move right there because the car is going to get aero tight with where they're running in regards to the leader.
Yeah, pinching somebody down, that's something that I definitely consider to be a fine art indeed. You got to know what the other driver is thinking, and you got to predict any of those possible mistakes they can be doing. And if you pull it off just right, you can definitely hold off a hard charging and definitely faster driver. But if you make a mistake, that car's going to turn you, and race control might give you the fault.
Yep, Tyler Ashley in the 183 is running right there in the top 5 now. Remember, we've been documenting that as he's marched up through. I think the 7 car is done running at the front. He's just kind of fallen back down. The tires have finally given up as looks like we're getting ready to have another battle for the lead. The O2 is working on Jake Douglas. It's just going to be a matter of, first of all, he's caught him. Catching him is one thing, passing him is another. We know how that is. But also working the air and working the grip that's available to you on the track. I don't know if the 183 has enough time to get through the 7 and the 19 to get up there and battle for this. But if he can clear those guys in the next lap or so, he might. But I think we're down to pretty much a 2-man show for the lead unless something crazy happens.
Yeah, we could always have a caution. And Jim, why don't you go ahead and remind the fine folks here that are watching, that are unfamiliar, how many green-white checkered attempts does this league do?
Oh, you had to jinx us with that. 3 green-white checkered attempts is our standard across the board. So that's and
no!
The 183 and the 190. Is it going to bring caution?
Yep, there it is.
With 5 to go, 6 to go.
I had to open my mouth. This could be a green-white. No, maybe not. As that 183 we're documenting made some contact with the 190. And unfortunately, that did bring out the caution.
It kind of looks like he might have got a little bit aero loose and chased it up the hill, but that angle makes it look like he just kind of pushed up the.
Yeah, there was contact made by 183 moving up. However, the contact was surprisingly very light. They actually weren't bouncing off each other. It was just the 183 just making some contact, adjusting, getting loose again, making some contact. However, that last bit did push the 190 up against the wall, and then, of course, we saw what happened there is John Jenkins, pit road is going to be open, and we have 13 drivers on the lead lap. I'm pitting, Jim. Are you?
Hey, I already paid for those tires to be mounted up and everything. I'm not leaving those on pit road.
Yeah, you don't get the money back, unfortunately. It's I know it's a sim and everything, but that those iRacing credits, you don't get them back for the tires you didn't use. As let's see who.
You're giving me ideas here. Let's see. I think he's going to come down. I'm pretty sure, and
31 as well.
183. Got to watch this 183. He took his second set of tires just a couple laps ago, so we'll see if he comes in, puts tires on. If so, then we'll see a call coming down from the race control tower.
This is also a test to see if Sam has been paying attention. As no, it just seems like just repairs being done in the 183, so no issues there. As of the 2 drivers of concern have already gone down pit road, they're going to be getting their fresh tires from the 13 drivers or 14 drivers on the lead lap. This could work out. It's you still need to play that fine game of picking the right hole, and there's going to be some luck that needs to be developed with seeing if those holes get opened up. But Jim, I don't know. We're gonna be restarting with, I believe, a natural green-white checkered. Is it? Do you think? Do you think he can get the win? Do you think John can get it?
You know, I don't think it's going to happen on one green-white checkered. Remember, I've talked about it a couple times. The freshness of the tires needs to get knocked off. The cars are incredibly hard to handle on fresh tires. If I was him, I'd be weaving that thing around the track, trying to do anything I can to just break them in a little bit more than what they are at the moment. And we see now, as I say that, the 31 is now weaving around the track. 31 was the other car that had stayed out, and he is now on pit road. I'm sorry, he had just pitted and is back on track with the fresh tires. Let's see where scoring puts him. Timing and scoring puts him in 9th, so that'll put Jenkins in 8th. It's possible. It's going to take a whole lot of shaking here on the restart to get those guys up there. A second green-white checkered, absolutely, I think they have a chance. But if it's just the one, I would not put my money on it. As a matter of fact, I'll go over to the Hollywood Casino and bet against them.
Well, let's go see if we can talk to John Jenkins. As Jim, I believe you are there with John.
Yeah, John, you held on to that last set of tires till just now. So you think it's going to help you get back up there, or what's your expectation here at the...
Yeah, I went from lap 35 till now on tires, so the plan is tryouts. I'm just going to test and see what it does, trying to come up through the field here.
Now, I've documented throughout the race, and Carlos has followed along here about the newness and the freshness of the tires. Taking a couple laps to really come in. It's pretty loose on the first couple laps until the tires come up to temp. What are you doing to alleviate that problem and maybe not have so much time to, or not have it take so much time to get the car up to speed?
Surprisingly, it's not loose at all. Pretty snug. So we'll see what we can.
And of course, John, while we got you up here, or while we got you on the radio, anybody that you want to thank here for today?
Yeah, Momentum Sim Racing, Super Clean, Jordan for putting the paints together, you for putting this lead together. I'm glad to be back in it. And 3 Wide TV for doing the broadcast this year. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Hey, Carlos, you know that Super Clean is one of those items that's 11% off this week at Menards with a mail-in rebate, right?
All right, well, thank you so much, John. We wish you good luck on this restart.
Thank you.
And so, Jim, I'll give you the honors for this hopefully final restart of the night.
I don't know. We got a few more Menards mentions to get in here tonight. So maybe we need to go a couple extra laps. So it looks like we're going to go into the first green-white checkered here. Jake Douglas and Sam Crow will lead them back to the green. They're in the restart zone, and green flag in the air. Jake Douglas pulls away with the...
Sam Crow, it seems like, did not get the restart he wanted. As while he didn't necessarily lose too many spots, he did lose one. But the point of interest is definitely that 7, as he's trying to make a hole there between a couple drivers, is able to clear it, and I think it might be looking, I don't know, he's currently 5th at the moment, side by side for 2nd place is the 02 of Sam Crow and the 39 of Cody Spiker battling side by side, going for 4th though. That 7 made some run. I just know it's not going to happen. With 1 lap to go, white flag is in the air. That I lost my train of thought. That number 7 machine of John Jenkins is looking on the inside, but he should have been behind.
He's going to get 3rd.
Yeah.
He's going to get 4th right here. I think he's going to maybe have an opportunity to get 3rd down at the at this end of the track. But I think it's pretty much... That was a good run. If we would have had another lap or so, I think he'd be a factor. But just really tough there. You know, as a driver in that situation, you can't cause the caution.
No.
Or you lose everything that you've gained.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be really careful. And those guys are going to block. They're going to block. They're going to run you down to the line. They're going to maneuver their car in such a way that it seems a little wider than it really is, and you just have to be really careful with that as you're trying to fight back through the field. It gets really tough to do that, and especially this close to the end, everybody is just pushing for everything that they got here.
Well, what a fantastic race here for Jake Douglas to come up with the win at the very end. Unfortunately, though, he will get that. He will be named in that penalty report the next day with that wrong number. And, well, I think that's the only issue, wrong number there. So, congratulations to the 194 of Jake Douglas being shown as the 114 here in iRacing. And, Jim, what are your thoughts over here tonight? How it went?
That was an exciting race. I just wish we could have not had as many cautions as we had, and maybe gotten out of here a little sooner so we could head on off to Menards and save 11% with a mail-in rebate this week. Really want to head on over there and get all those great products that they have. But no, just a great race, and really excited for Jake to get the win there. It's been a while since he won one of our races. He's been out of our league for a couple of years, and it's nice to see him back, and hopefully that'll be a good sign for him. And if you guys that were going for the PSLs impressed me tonight. Really excited about this year. I think it's going to be a great year. We got a great amount of drivers here. We were talking about it today. The invited or the Premier Series license holders are just about double the field size of these Premier Cup Series races. So it's going to be tough to make the race.
Oh, I bet. I had some trouble even making the truck race a couple of weeks ago. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up this broadcast. But before we do, let's go over ahead and wow. Let me try that again. Before we do wrap up the broadcast, let's go through the race results. And Jim, why don't you go ahead and give me the top 10?
Well, Jake Douglas picked up that win. By the way, an hour, 21 minutes, 20.472 seconds. That was a long 150-mile race here at Kansas Speedway. Sam Crow in the 02 was second. Cody Spiker in the 19 third. John Jenkins fourth. Troy Haight wrapped up the top five. Jordan Berry in sixth. Richard Stolly seventh. Brad Lee eighth. Tyler Ashley ninth. And Mark Myers rounds out your top 10.
Yeah, in 11th place, Jared Haggerty finishing there. Eric Stanford 12th. Travis McDaniel 13th with Jason Eisenhower in 14th. Shane Parrish in 15th. Tim Knott 16th. Jordan Riddick in 17th. Richard Fletcher 18th. Will Wursler 19th. And John Gallagher in 20th.
21st went to Alex Giese. He was actually parked from the race for two cautions. David Washington 22nd. James Lorello in at 23rd, Jason Stewart in 24th, Nick Curling 25th, Ethan Adams in 26th, Kyle Zimmer in 27th after running up front. Greg Evans also ran up front, finished 28th, Mitch Brown 29th. They were all wrapped up in the same wreck. And Kelsey Rogers, who gave us that upside-down experience over there, rounds out the top 30.
Yeah, and then 31st, these last seven drivers, Jay Crable, Brandon Key 32nd, Michael Whitting 33rd, Chris Stauffer 34th, Dean Gear in 35th, Steve Buhala in 36th, and Clarence Bonner in 37th. I believe those last two drivers did not start tonight, as pretty much a lot of cautions here tonight. I'm sure that's going to be something that the management is going to be speaking out in regards to, as well as it's going to be, I would say, a pretty decently sized penalty report. Jim, do you have any last things you want to go ahead and say? Any shout outs you want to give out before we do wrap up tonight?
No, just a big thank you to Hacksaw's PCs as our primary sponsor here on the Hacksaw's PCs Premier Cup Series. And of course, Shane Parrish and Serve Pro for their sponsorship of the Serve Pro Wheelman Challenge and the Serve Pro Grand National Series this year. Of course, thanks to 3 Wide TV for having us as a league, having us back. First time that we've been back with the same broadcaster year to year since 2015. So we're happy to be back with you guys. And of course, thank you, Carlos, for putting this together tonight so we could knock the cobwebs off of the old TV booth here.
Yeah, I think you did a fantastic job for somebody who doesn't have too much experience. I'm also knocking the rust off. Gotta get myself to a couple broadcasts before, because in case the event I need to do one, I gotta be prepared. So thank you so much, Jim. Thank you so much for everybody for watching, and for sure we'll be back. Our next scheduled broadcast is the duels at Daytona on February 4th. So be sure to check that out. Thank you so much.
Those are the Kirkwood Transportation duels at Daytona, and also I'll pick up a can of WD-40 at Menards this week so we can knock the rust off.
You know what? I may just pick up a couple things from Menards with that 11% off store-wide sale. 11%. That's huge, especially if you get a bunch of stuff. Well, thank you so much, Jim. Thank you so much for everybody watching, and we will wish you guys all a good night.